Heyo, I'm Colby from Sanitarium Productions. We're back again with another action figure review. In this episode, we're taking a look at the Warhammer 4000 line from McFarlane Toys. This is the Ultramarines Primaris Assault Intercessor. Is that right? Intercessor? Something like that. Space Marines! That's pretty much what this is. This is a really cool looking figure here. If you're not familiar with it, the Warhammer 4000 line is based off of a role-playing tabletop game, depending on how you want to throw that around. But basically those are these little miniatures that go out and do all sorts of cool damage and really awesome stuff that you can do with the whole role-playing game stuff. So very cool, but McFarlane Toys has taken this and has expanded it into the 6-inch line. So very cool looking action figure in that scale. One of the first we've seen as far as action figures go. We've got a few statues and things like that in the past from the Warhammer universe, but this is kind of one of the first action figures, true action figures from that particular intellectual property. So very cool. It does definitely look great in the package here. It does come on a nice window art here. Taking a look at the actual package, we've got the Warhammer logo stuff here. The side does have this cool glamour shot. The back shows the other figure in the line, which is the Necron Warrior. Some of the McFarlane Brandy stuff here. Another cool piece of artwork here on this side. The top has more of that window box looking stuff. You can see the McFarlane logo there, 12 and up. And then on the bottom we have all the cool copyright information and stuff like that from Games Workshop, etc, etc, etc. So this came out in 2000 and let me see if I can find what it says. I want to say it came out in 2019. 2020 is actually what it says here. So 2020, so I'm a little slow getting this out. I've had it on the shelf for a little while, just haven't had a chance to get around to it. So that's what we're doing today. We're going to go ahead and open this thing up and take a look at it here. These things retailed for about 20 bucks when they were first out there. It was very hit or miss as to whether or not you could find them easily. The Necron Warriors were a little bit easier for me to find anyways. So yeah, they also had an artist proof of this, which came in basically all gray. But this is the colorized version, so that's the one I really wanted. They are looking at doing another season of these, or wave 2, I guess. Toss that back there. Nice big package here that is actually rubber banded together, so didn't notice that to begin with, so we'll have to snip these things real quick. Little plasticky things, nothing major. There are 3 of those. Perfect. Now we should be able to lift this out. The background has some nice art going on in the background here. Got the kind of weirdish yellow, kind of almost olive green kind of stuff going on, but really cool looking artwork. We do also have our figure stand here, so I'm going to go ahead and get this thing out by just cutting around the edges of it here, hopefully. I might need a thicker blade to do this. But maybe I can get this done. It's cool that they include the stand, but it's a little aggravating to get it out. Let's see if that's enough to just rip it off with. That really didn't work well at all. But there we go, that's most of it. There we are. Figure stand. Throw that to the side now. Then we're going to move back over here and take a look at the cool figure and the accessories here. We do have some rubber bands holding things in, so we're going to flip this over to the side and see what's going on. We got a couple of things here, there, and abouts. So we're just going to use the X-Acto knife and slice these out, I think. One on the sword, one on the pistol. Looks like they've doubled the one here on the backpack. And we've got a couple to deal with the figure still, but first up, the backpack. Very cool. We will zoom in here and take a closer look at all these in a moment, but there is the backpack. Nice looking. We've got the sword, the chainsaw sword, very nice as well. The bolter pistol. And now the figure. Yeah, lots of little things going on here. So, I'm going to try to do this the hard way, I guess. That pulls out. Actually, most of these will probably pull out. That one won't. So the one around his waist is the only one I see that should take just a little bit of cutting. I think that's it. So we'll see if this guy will come out now. Yes, nicely. Alright, we got a couple of these things still around. I think that's it. Those are trash now. So we can zoom in and take a look at this guy now. So, let's reposition the camera just a wee bit to get this full frame for y'all. And I actually didn't take much zooming. It's a rather large figure, to be very honest with you, and I like that. So, very, very cool. Nice indeed here. Let's start out with the weapons, I guess, here. First up, we have the chainsaw sword. Very cool indeed here. Not a lot of details. We do have that cool skull pommel right there. It is painted a gold color nicely. And then the only other real paint apps here are the black on the flat part of the blade. A little bit on there. The rest of it's that dark gray. It's a real bendy plastic, which is kind of surprising to me here. It kind of does just bend all over the place here. So very weird looking, but very nice, and it's got this nice clunky chain blade thing going on here. Some nice details in the actual hilt itself. Not a lot of things going on, but a decent amount of details. So very nice looking. That just fits in the hand pretty easily. Just kind of slide it around a little bit. I guess it's probably supposed to go in that hand, but I guess it's good that it's kind of flexible because the hand is very stiff. There we go. That fits in there pretty easily. It looks very cool. Nice, solid, chunky sword there. I don't know how well that'll go in his other hand there. Those fingers really don't look to be bendable at all. So let's try this and see. There's not really a gap in that hand. So, I mean, it bends a little bit, but still a little stiff there. So, I don't know. We'll try this and see. That definitely doesn't fit in like that. So, there's not really an easy way to get it in there. So, I'm not going to bother with it. We'll put it in there like that for the time being. But, so that's a little odd that it's going to have to go into that hand right there. But, it is what it is. Moving on, we've got the blaster pistol here, the bolt pistol. Again, not a lot of detail, just enough to make it interesting, but I'm actually a little bit surprised that they don't have more detail in these things. But a very nice design anyways. Nice clunky blaster pistol, bolter pistol. And that it is also made out of that slightly spongy material there, so the handle is a little wiggly, which should help get it in his hand a little easier. Let's see here. Don't help a whole lot, but a little bit. There we go. And then twist it and twist it and get it to line up with the finger pistol thing there. Looks pretty good, actually. I like that. Very cool. No holster or anything like that, so you're just going to have to hold it, but it's a cool looking pistol. The other accessory we get here is, of course, the backpack. Again, a very nice looking backpack. It's, again, not got a lot of detail, but it actually doesn't need a lot. It's big and chunky and feels really nice and looks really cool with just a minimal amount of details. Paint on it looks really good. That might rub a little bit, but it is kind of interesting in that it's got some weird glossy thing on the paint here. I guess where they put the applicator on to get that sticker decal thing on there. But it's made the top part of this, whatever you call this back plate here, really shiny up here in the corner. I don't know how well that's going to show up here on camera or not, but very kind of glossy at the very top of that, and then underneath it's got the kind of matte effect. Just kind of odd, but still looks very cool. It's got just a single peg kind of system here for the back. Turn the figure over, you can kind of see how that lines up. You just line this up and push in on it, and it kind of snaps in place. It's supposed to snap in place. There we go. Push really hard and it does its job and snaps in there. Luckily it will only go in one way, so you have it turned that way and he rides his jetpack. Zoom, zoom, zoom. But looks really nice there. I really like the design of that thing. It's always looked cool in the miniature gaming stuff, so I'm glad they included it here with the big one. And then to pop it back off, you just kind of pull, and there you go. The other accessory, I guess, is of course the figure stand itself. It's kind of one of these traditional. It's thinner than I was expecting, but it looks very much like the ones they've included with the DC figures from McFarlane as well. One single peg hole right there in the bottom of his feet. I'm really surprised that these are really small pegs. But it's a nice hefty figure. So I just line that up and pop that in to place right there. Kind of works. It's kind of loose, but also just needs a little bit of... And it works pretty well, actually, so... I don't know that you actually need the figure stand itself. It actually stands halfway decently on its own, but we got a figure stand, so I'm okay with that. Moving on to the figure itself here. This thing has some really awesome details here. Let's zoom in kind of close here so we can take a look at it. The helmet looks really nice. Some nice paint apps on it all the way around. Nice glossy eyes there. The cool silver skull. Again, it's kind of a minimalist paint job. It's got very flat colors, and to me that makes sense because That's kind of the way you end up painting them when they're in the miniature form, so it kind of works for me in that sense. I like the blue color. It just is very reminiscent again of the original miniatures. They mostly come in that blue plastic, but you can get other ones as well. But very nice looking skull logo here on the chest piece here. The sides have nice paint apps for that. Some nice cool gold colors there. That cool bracer with the skull symbol on it. This side has his little totem thing. More cool details. Again, I'm not 100% really well versed in all the aspects of those bits and bobs of the actual game itself, but it's nice that they have included those. Looking at the rest of this, you can see the underside of the exosuit, I guess is the way you should call it. Also the same thing where the armor fits here underneath, like the elbow joints and things like that. You can see that undersuit, which is very cool. Nice job on the gauntlets and the arms. Very big clunky boots. Again, nice paint apps here. A little bit of overspray, maybe just a little bit here around this kneecap, but nothing major. And yeah, very cool. Looking at the back again, we don't have a whole lot of details, but the details that are there are pretty amazing. I do like these little pouches here. Got a little bit of paint slop right there, but nothing major. Again, you can see that black undersuit. Cool bottom of the boots here. And these little pieces here, it's interesting that they have that kind of soft plastic feel to them as well. So you can kind of bend them around a little bit. These things are not as soft as like the sword, but still a softer plastic. Same thing with this, it's a little bendy. As far as articulation goes, that's where things get kind of cool here. So I guess we'll start with the head here. The head does spin 360 degrees. We have a little bit of up and down motion, not a lot of side head tilt here either. It's mostly just to spin 360. But there is a joint underneath there that kind of does help that move up and down quite a bit, which I was not expecting, but there it is. So that little plate right there moves when you push it in and up, and does kind of wobble and wiggle and do your tilty bit. I guess that's a good word for it. These little things here, shoulder pauldrons, are like on a separate joint, so they can wiggle around a bit, which is nice because then the arm joint itself, the shoulder joint, we can't see in here very well, but it is on kind of that weird round shoulder joint. I guess maybe we can see in there like that. So it does go all the way around and go 360 up, down, goes up about that far, down about that far, back about that far, forward. So you can get quite a bit of motion here, and there's a little bit better shot of that round joint. But you can get some good articulation going on here. It's just you have to work at it a little bit, and it's a little bit loose, which I kind of like, but at the same time it definitely grips where it needs to grip. So that's cool. The top of the arm bicep kind of joint is a swivel joint, so it goes 360 this way. Then we have a double elbow joint here, which is pretty cool. Again, it seems like it's a little bit limited in articulation, but it's not really. You just kind of have to wiggle it the right way to get it to go wherever you want it to go, but it's definitely got all the articulation there you need. It does only straighten out about that far. And again, it makes sense since this is kind of like an exoskeleton. You're not going to be having the same kind of movement as a regular human joint, I guess you could say. But that's pretty cool. I do like that. Then we've got a swivel joint here and a rocker. Is it a rocker? I think it's just a swivel joint. Looks to be just a swivel joint, but I think it actually does have rocker in there. So it's a swivel rocker. It just you don't have a whole lot of articulation there because it's kind of stuck up against this gauntlet here. So interesting, pretty nice there. Same thing on the other side here. For the chest articulation, we do have like the rib cage ball joint here. So it twists all which ways around that way. Goes back about that far, forward about that far. So some good ab crunch. It does roll and swivel and tilt and all that good stuff. So that is very cool. I like that. I don't think we have a waist twist. It kind of looks like there's one there, but it's kind of sticky if it is. So yeah, it is what it is. Leg joints, we do have the hip is on those ball joints as well. But it's kind of limited, so it only goes out about that far and about that far. Forwards, it goes a little bit more, so we can get them to go like that, and then all the way back there. So pretty cool there. Very nice. Then we do have double knee joints here, which is very nice. We do have this big clunky boot that is the bottom joint, I guess would be the way to look at it. And then you've got a top joint there. And that articulates like so. So you get quite a bit of range of motion. More than I was expecting, to be very honest with you. Very nice. There's no extra swivel or anything like that. Then at the ankle joints, we have just kind of a regular tilty joint. Doesn't tilt a whole lot because, again, these boots are kind of in the way of everything. So it does kind of swivel a little bit in and out and goes up and down quite a bit there. So it's pretty good, but again, you're not going to get a whole lot of articulated poses out of that thing. It's just a bit too clunky for that sort of posability. But I am pretty surprised with the level of flexibility that is there. The joints themselves are actually pretty nice. They do have those standard ball, swivel, twisty things, but again, some of the other sculpting just gets in the way. So, but very cool looking. So that is the articulation. This is a really cool figure here. Again, just for size comparisons, we've got the standard kind of 30mm miniature here, the big giant guy right here. We have, let's see what's handy here. G.I. Joe 25th anniversary here for size comparison, which probably doesn't help. And do I have something more like a He-Man figure or something like that? Here we go. Here's well, this one will work. So we've got Zodak from the Masters of the Universe Classics line. So it's a standard kind of 6-inch figure. This one pretty much stands about in that scale. So you can kind of see what it would line up as. It looks really good here. I don't have one of the I don't have one of the McFarlane Batman figures or anything like that handy, so can't do that comparison, but still, it's a pretty cool looking figure here. I do really like the level of detail that's into this. It's, for me, it is exactly what I'm looking for detail-wise. One of the other things that's in my head right now is trying to use some of this as a base to do a custom costume. Check that out maybe sometime in the future. I'll put a link in here maybe for that, but yeah, this is a great kind of basic figure for a Space Marine, and I'm really digging it. It looks awesome. It's got the standard accessories you would expect to find here. About the only thing I would probably have liked to see is one of the larger blasters instead of just a standard pistol. You know, an assault rifle would have been nice. That may be coming in one of those future waves that we were talking about earlier. But yeah, it's a cool figure. The grip is a little bit stiff, so it's a little harder to get some of the things to go in their hands as I would have liked. Again, this hand here is just slightly too much closed to really get a good grip on the sword. You can work at it a little bit, and I'm sure it would loosen up a little bit. I'm just kind of afraid to break that thing right there, though I've broken plenty of other figures, so I don't really know why it matters. But it's a cool looking figure here. I'm really liking it. It's got a nice heft to it, nice clunky figure, but has some really awesome articulation in it. If you haven't picked this thing up, I think you'll be impressed with it. I'm very much so impressed with it. I really am digging it. I'm looking forward to some of the future waves of figures and seeing how we can maybe do some army building. These things are a little harder to come by right now. I guess they've kind of sold out since their first getting. They used to be at Walmart and like GameStop and things like that. So check those places first. I know I have seen the Necrons still on shelves in a couple of places, but I've not seen too many of these Space Marines in the recent past. So yeah, you may have to go to third parties, and I think like Big Bad Toy Store may also be sold out of this particular one. But you can check eBay and see what it looks like, and check with some other collectors and stuff. It's a really cool figure, and I'm really liking it. If you can get it for 20 bucks, it's a slam bang, done deal. More than likely now, though, you're probably looking at the $40 range. And I would still say it's a good deal for that price, though it's starting to get a little bit silly at that point. And this is a whole nother conversation, I'm sure. But yeah, they're not going to be cheap for very long. But the basic paint job is here. I think some of the newer waves are just going to be slightly different paint jobs. So you might just wait and pick up one of those when they do hit finally. But yeah, I'm really digging this thing. That's all the time we've got for today, so thanks for watching as always. Drop us some comments down below. Let us know what you think of this Space Marine, or what is it called officially? Let me read it off the thing here. The Ultramarines Primaris Assault Intercessor. With a heavy bolt pistol and Astartes chainsword. That's the official name, so... Anyways, I really am digging this thing. I think it's really an awesome figure. I'm interested to hear what your comments are, so put those down there, down below. Let us know what your thoughts are. If you're an actual Warhammer gamer, you know, how do you think this stacks up to some of the actual miniature games? I don't really think we're ever going to see any like vehicles for these, which is a shame because that's one of the appeals of the actual Warhammer universe in the gaming community, is that there's all these different sets of forces and you can build vehicles and batteries and all this other stuff, and it's an army build kind of thing. So I'd be very interested to see if we can ever get something like that scale wise in this 6-inch line. That would be just magnifico. But I don't know. If you'd like to see anything else in future videos, drop me a line, let me know. I'll do my best to get it out in front of y'all. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And until next time, game on in this case.